Hi, everyone. My name's Rebecca, and welcome to Previews, Reviews, and Things You Can Use for Teaching ESL Online, or if you're self-studying for learning ESL online. All right, you guys, so let's check out um, today's resource that we're going to preview and review. It's ABC, y'all. Okay, guys, it's ABC, y'all. You might be familiar with this one. Okay, here's my rundown on ABC. Okay, so it's basically free. I have a monthly subscription that I can cancel and renew as needed. Um, I have to be honest with you. I recently signed up for it again. I had it, I stopped it, and now I'm back on the monthly payment. Um, Really, a lot of my reasons for having the subscription are my own kids. They have an animation studio you can use, and you get more tools and you can save your projects more easily if you pay. And I think back during COVID, when my kids were not, well, okay, out of the two, one of them was not in public school, and I was homeschooling him. There were some reasons to save work and things like that. Okay, this is not an ESL material. It's not geared towards ESL students specifically, but it's very useful, I feel. This is definitely for kids, and more specifically, primary and elementary school kids. Second most exciting thing, after using this site for a while, I have found games that fit nicely with our ESL students' needs. There's a game called Hold the Phone that's a lot of fun, and it's related to idioms. Later Gator subject verb agreement, everyone. There's a subject verb agreement game out there, and you're going to love it when you try it. I promise you. Slimezilla versus the compound words. Okay, this is a fun one, but teachers, if you get a break between students, you might want to play this game and get it to a certain level. So, and then hit pause and then get your student, on your call, on your Zoom call, and then they can start like midway through the game, and I'll show you why. Um, let's see, ice cream talk. Oh, yeah. This is a great one. I have to say, it's a lot easier to teach sentence structure, grammar, writing, you name it. If you can get your students to learn these terms, nouns, verbs, prepositions, especially when you're teaching verb tenses and trying to teach them, the whole concept of subject verb agreement, which we just talked about up there with Later Gator. So this is the best one they have, in my opinion, for teaching parts of speech. They do have a lot more, but I'm just the ones I chose. Part of the reason I chose them is we are teaching a class, okay? And some of the games are, fun for kids, but there's a lot of little extra bells and whistles. And, they might be like wandering through a forest as a character with a sword, fighting a dragon, and things like that. And that might be a little too much filler, for us and our needs. So Ice Cream Talk is right down to business, okay? Fun Factory, punctuation. Okay, so that's really neat. They give you some sentences that you need to correct, make sure the capitalization's right, make sure the periods and commas are correct. And it's like got a little conveyor belt theme to it. And if you successfully correct these sentences, you get to build like a playhouse or a robot or something like that. And then we've got Journey to the Past Tense, and that's kind of self-explanatory. But I will say this, Journey to the Past Tense is kind of neat because you start by identifying which words are past tense and kind of like a group of words, and then they do mix it up. They give you a bunch of sentences, and you have to decide which ones are appropriate for past tense and which ones are appropriate for simple present. So that's cool. That's definitely something we need with our students. Okay, the third most exciting thing, you can create a crossword puzzle or word search with your own vocab list. So they do have a crossword puzzle creator and a word search creator. When you get on the site and you see their search bar, just type in crossword puzzle creator, word search creator, and you'll get you'll see it pop up on the menu. You can make your own crosswords. Okay, how do I use this in class? Well, I share the screen through Zoom. Um, students, hopefully, I know our students have different devices that they use. I personally, I, you know what, I'm not a tech whiz, so maybe I sound silly saying this, but I kind of feel like students who use iPads are a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to playing games and clicking on things. So if your student's on an iPad, you might have to think about that ahead of time, maybe try to evaluate, okay, is this the type of student where they could just tell me the answer and I could click on it? Or is that going to be a little too confusing to them? So the next thing is, also it can be used as a warm up or a reward. I know, you know, you guys may be watching this and think that, maybe I'm taking the easy way out by using some of these games. And I'm definitely not trying to do that. Some of my students have half-hour or 25-minute classes. I wouldn't necessarily do a game with someone whose class is that short, but some of these younger kids that have longer lessons, it might make sense to give them like five, maybe not five. Five, it's just, some people say 5 minutes. I think five's a little too long, so maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. Um, and I have used it as a warm up before because I am pretty diehard when it comes to beginning each class with conversation. However, there's a few times I just don't do that. And, I have some students who I love, but if they don't like the conversation topic that I'm presenting, I'm getting a lot of one-word answers, or they're a little bit older and they might go down a rabbit hole with, I don't want to say a conversation that's inappropriate, but like I have like preteen boys that I teach. It could be like maybe blood and guts and you know um just kind of gross out humor that maybe if we're on that, um if we get sucked into something like that and at the same time it's still a kid, they still need to warm up. It doesn't really make sense to sit a child down and start with grammar the minute they log on. You could do a short game for something like that. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's check out ABC. Yeah, so I did mention the price. So that's the first thing I have pulled up. I'm on the monthly prescription. Or subscription, sorry. It's $9.99 per month. Um, the only thing I will add, besides me mainly using the features with my own kids, is I think this time around I tried to download some printables from them and I realized you needed a subscription. So I thought, well, they do offer a month-to-month subscription. Okay, so I don't like saying that I had this on my mind, but I guess I'm just going to say it. I thought maybe I could download a bunch of stuff, keep it in a file, and then cancel my subscription. Just being completely honest with you guys. I mean, I guess they know what they're doing by offering a monthly subscription option. But if you really love this site, like I said, I was using it for other things with homeschooling. When I homeschooled, then you get quite a bit of savings if you do decide to pay for a month or 6 months up front or a whole year up front. Okay, so we'll get down to some of the games. Okay, so let's start with Later Gator because it's probably my favorite that I use the most. And we don't have to look at all of them. Um, but this is a neat subject verb agreement game. And I just want to add too, because we're on Zoom, I've just used the annotation tool so much, so I might even just do some subject verb agreement ahead of time, in the margin, like maybe just conjugate a verb for them. I won't do it all now because I'm trying to make these videos short, you guys. I just made one and it was way too long. And I don't want to do that again. I want to make these short and sweet. So I'm not going to even do the whole verb. I'm just going to show you where I would put it. So I might like introduce the whole concept, make sure they know what I'm talking about when I say subject verb agreement. For example, because that's past tense, You can see. Okay, listen. I woke up, the life of an ESL teacher. I've been up since 3. Okay, and I'm trying to do something different. Bear with me. Okay, so I play. Okay. And then just, of course, you play, something I like to do is when you get to the third person singular, which is what you really need to look out for, I might switch colors and say like he, she, it plays and just put it in a different color to really highlight um, that's what we're concerned with. Okay. But I will say this, the actual game is neat because so often when we teach subject verb agreement, we're doing it with pronouns. So then we're kind of throwing our students for a loop when they have to look at, using these verbs in more realistic situations where they're not using pronouns. They're using subjects, and sometimes these subjects are not people's names. Like that's another layer to it. So maybe I will put up the whole thing. We play, they play. Okay. And even for students who I think have this concept nailed, with the subject verb agreement and think, oh goodness, a game on this skill is going to be too easy for them. It actually ends up being a challenge because they will have things like the teachers. And so that's why you might want to put it, in the margin and give them a chance to like play with it a little bit ahead of time before we get into the game, with all the colors and, the faster pace. So the teachers are like they, because they is more than one. Okay. So anytime we see the teachers as a subject, we want to choose a verb that does not have an S. So they, for example, they give, play, sing. Okay. But then we might have a subject coming at us like this one. The pediatrician that's in here, guys. So you can really, you can really get your students, um, have them exposed to some things that maybe they might not get in their material. So the pediatrician, okay, is this one or is this more than one? And then you can kind of explain. It doesn't end in an S, but not all plurals end in an S. So your student might not know. Okay, so a pediatrician is one. It's one doctor. Pediatrician is like a doctor that helps children, and that would be he or she because it's singular. Okay, so if we see the pediatrician, we want a verb that ends in S. Gives, plays, sings. Okay, and you guys, I do this periodically. I save the screen. So now we have notes that we made when we were conjugating a verb and when we were explaining how subjects look different in different situations. It's not always going to be a pronoun. It's not always going to be someone's name. So then this is what the game actually looks like. Okay. And they always have like a little, this stuff you can skip. Hold on. See if you just there's some games that, like I said, there's a little too much of this and you can't skip it, but this is nice because you can just keep hitting the play button. So the kids has or climb. Okay, we want something that doesn't end in an S because it's a plural subject. My uncles ends in an S. We want something that doesn't end in an S because it's a plural subject. Okay, so you get the point. Okay. So, I had like that nice little list of games that I found interesting and, feel free to refer back to it. But the only one I want to point out is hold the phone because I mentioned this is good for primary school and elementary school. Hold the phone is like one of those games that you might actually be able to use with a middle schooler or a little bit older if you're looking for games for an older student. Um, it's really cute. See, it's like got a whole phone theme. So an idiom, it tells you what an idiom is. Okay, okay, I'm ready to play. You gotta text them. Okay. Okay, great. Let's match. Let's get started. Okay. The best of both worlds. Okay. Okay. And so it's kind of fun. Now, and like I said, I mean, I know we're here to teach. We're not here to just be playmates with games and everything, but it's kind of neat. So anyway, so then you can correct select what the idiom. Now, what does the idiom mean? And it gives you some choices. Okay. Okay, so that's neat even for like an older student. If you have an older student that gets bored and because these kids are not perfect. They're just like any other kids. Sometimes you have to, kind of deal with their boredom, deal with their stress, and it's neat to just kind of break the ice with this, from time to time and get them comfortable and get them settled in. So anyways, there's an idea, and we'll just do this really quickly. Because I did. Okay, so crossword. Okay, hold on. I guess it's called crossword creator. I thought it was crossword generator. Uh-oh, here I am messing up in my own video. Crossword. Okay, so you can make your own crossword puzzle. So just type that in if you have a word list. It's not, I wondered like, how are they able to do this? Of course, it isn't going to turn out perfectly. I think I gave them like 10 words. I did one on WH words and I put in 10 and they were only able to get 7 into the puzzle. So, but it's a neat resource and it can be done online. Like the finished product is not necessarily something that you have to download as a PDF, but I believe you can and send to your student. You can make the crossword and then they can, drag the letters into the boxes online. So, and it, of course, when they get it right, we've got stars, we've got graphics. It's fun. Okay. All right. So, anyways. That's about it for ABC. Yeah, I mean, it can be free. Um, you definitely saw the prices that I showed a few minutes ago, and the prices aren't bad if you feel the need to access every single feature, but you can get a lot, the only thing that I have not been able to do that I wanted to do is download um, some of the um, worksheets and also save, work in like the animation studio and things like that, but that's not for our students. Okay, have a great one, guys. I hope you found this helpful and happy teaching.